So you're not only learning here to benefit in your environment. And all you need to do is to spend some time and invest some time in it, and inshallah, once you work with the patient, and then inshallah, you can try to hook you up with service Guyana. Some of the courses that we did so far, people already, in fact, this morning we were with service Guyana owner, and he said 2 brothers came with their mother to find out where they can go from here. And they already were giving directions and instructions what to do. So this is not just a happening or a haphazard thing. This is done with a serious intent to help you and I get better. So we are here to make you better with the course and the guidance program. So if you like the opportunity, inshallah, if any one of you are interested in following the field or to get involved in the field, contact us and we will contact us and we see what we can do. Even if you are coming here now or a tile installer and you end up in a technical situation, the number of the brothers will be available. You can always call them to get instruction or how to help you in the situation. So I just want to make sure everyone is focused and ask your question. No question is stupid. You know what, you may think that the question is stupid, but the man next to you have the same question. The man next to you may have the same question. And when you ask that question, he will be happier than you that you ask that question. So remember, you do this thing to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to earn His favor and to make Muslims' life better. So by asking a question, you will be educating the next Muslim.
The brothers came right on time. We've got a few things that's here. Before we dig into that, I'm going to show you a couple of videos. I'm going to show you one video and then we'll come back to this. To elaborate on what Brother Munir said, and it's kind of where I talk, is mindset. Almost every class I've been to so far, there's someone that says, you know, this is Guyana, and I don't worry about it top. I can't make it. So, I'm here to tell you, that's not this game. What I'm going to teach you, you don't need to know them, they don't need to know you, right? And again, understanding the economics of this is what's going to make you propel to the top, right? Service Guyana, alhamdulillah, he understood the economical impact that he would have in Guyana. That's why from Florida to Guyana, he came and he did what he did. So understand this. How much do you know plumbing right now? Nobody. How much do you know? You know plumbing? Huh? A little. We're going to lean on that. How much do you know of plumbing? Everybody should know of plumbing. If you use the toilet, the flushing ones, that's plumbing. You know of plumbing, right? So, how do we translate that to become something in this country? So, first you got to understand that if you ever want to make it rich in the world, everybody know who Jeff Bezos is? Yeah? Who's he? Huh? Right. Well, who is he? Founder of Amazon. Okay. Who knows who is Elon Musk? Huh? Tesla. Okay. What did they bring to the market? Right. Got it right? Someone said service. The service industry is where money is at. Anybody know anything about Jeff Bezos and Amazon? 400% to 110%. Then whatever comes of that, that is the color of Allah, right? To sit down and do nothing is not the color of Allah. Oh, Allah will feed me, Allah fed the birds and the bushes and all of that good stuff. For me, the religion of Islam is to be active, right? And this is what I'm trying to do, is to be active with my religion. Inshallah, the other aspect of what I want to talk to you about is how to put all of this together, right? How to get a job. Brother Munir mentioned a few ways. There's a technical institute out there. I guess there's one in every locality or close proximity to the regions. So, if you find this interesting, then invest in going to one of the technical institutes. And you'll speak to the leadership here to see how they can assist you with filling out paperwork or whatever is necessary for you to get inducted into one of these 2-year classes. How much time do you have to give to the plumbing field to learn. I've been in plumbing for over 25 years, and I'm still learning. Because like I said in the beginning, this is an evolving field, right? There's different faucets, there's different types of toilets, there's different types of shut-off mechanisms that are coming into the market, and every time we have to be re-educated. So if you're a person that says, well, I know it all, this is not the field for you, and you shouldn't live life like that, because we all learn, right? And we all have to grow with what's happening around us. The environment is changing, you're changing, your body's changing. There was a time I could do 100 push-ups one shot, today I probably can barely do 10, right? The body changes, you get old, things happen. So be always conscious of that. Don't fight change, embrace change, right? Change is good for you. There are people who wasn't Muslim, they didn't accept Islam. When they accept Islam, it was a whole different world for them. Think about the early Muslims and how they embraced change and the difficulties they had. So, to the plumbing aspects of things, it'll take you some time to get the concepts of plumbing. Why is it important to understand the concepts of plumbing? So, I'm going to use your example out here. So, you have a wudu area, you have a couple of holes to make wudu. Now the concept was to get water out so people can make wudu, and it's convenient, and that's it. Well, as we move in the evolution of plumbing, convenience is important. The aesthetics, the looks of it, is even more important. The concealment, where I don't see all of this piping, but I still get the function of water, hot and cold water, or whatever I want, is still important. So as we move on, you're going to start to see more pipe getting concealed in the walls, and all you're seeing is, like if you go to America and you put on a shower valve, all you see is a silver plate, a shower head. That's it. Right? All the pipes are behind the wall. The pipes are behind the wall, you have to have techniques of how to service it, because pipe breaks, pipes erode, pipes rust, pipe have problems, right? You got to fix it. Or the valve is bad, you got to change it out. So how do you do it? The least invasive way. Your customer will be happy for you. Because if I'm living in a house and I have to wait 4 days for you to fix my shower valve, it's not going to be proper for me because I got to use my shower, right? So the faster you get in and the faster you get out is important. Technique is important. So utilize the time to know these things. Another, in respect to what we're saying, is where and how the application of certain types of pipe. So PVC pipe is pretty much the pipe that everybody uses here. In America, we have copper pipe that is predominantly used. And we have 4 types of pipes. We have PVC, we have CPVC, we have PEX, and we have copper. Right now, for the top is going to be copper and PEX. Those two are fighting for the #1 slot. PVC is not being used like how you guys use PVC here. Our PVC is either underground or inside walls. So it's not exposed to the direct sunlight. And a good percent of plumbers do not use PVC pipe above ground. Very seldom you use that. Because again, the drinking water fountain, drinking water factor is what stops them from doing that. On the ground, the earth keeps it cool and it doesn't release that chemical I speak about. Mostly we see copper above ground, and now a lot of PEX pipe and CPVC pipe. Why is this important to you? Is that as I travel around and I try to stop in a few of the hardware stores to see what's available. And some areas already have CPVC pipe. So that means the technology is coming in, maybe slow, but it's coming in. The theory of what these pipes are coming in, but it's coming in slow, right? So gradually you'll start to see more of this. The application with copper. Copper basically can be installed anywhere, right? Because copper is going to last longer and it's going to hold up against a lot of things, right? So, and the third thing I wanted to tell you guys is that, well, we'll get to the third thing after the video show. Not for Guyana, but for America. If it takes me an hour to do a job, and I can do it in half hour and make the same money, it's important, right? So, there's a quote, but we'll get into the quote business later. This tool is basically you put it in the copper pipe and you take a hammer and you beat it. Here, you use a drill and you flare it out and you're good to go. And you have a stop, so you can't go beyond that stop. They didn't put the price. But I think like maybe about 120 or something like that for them, right? Let's pass this over. Right? So basically this fitted is what was just made there. So it's a cost-effective way of doing things, right? So instead of buying the coupling for $120 or $180, whatever it's selling for, you already make your own fit in there, right? And you clean it and you solder it and you move on. You understand? So again, knowing the type of material that you work with and knowing the expectations of those fitters, right? What will happen is that it'll help you to be able to propel your business farther up, right? Right now, you wouldn't see the importance of this tool because you have PVC pipe, you have the meter, water isn't constantly running, right? So what happens is that as you get into more of the service where you're working in hotels, you're working in high rises, where you can shut down the whole building, and you only have a small amount of time to do so, right? What you do is this particular tool, you'll see the application of it, right? And trust me, when you start to get more into plumbing, you'll know that pressure on live pipe is not that light, it's heavy. And important to look at the cutter too, right? There's going to be a separate video on the cutter. So that's a mini cutter. This is probably about the 8th or 10th addition to this particular type of cutter. So it's a close corner cutter. Before time, we have these cutters, right? So these cutters, you have to go through full revolution, and the finger has to go all the way around to push it. I'm going to pass this around too, right?
So what's the name of this?
It's called a mini cutter. Yeah, mini copper tubing cutter, right? The process in which it's used is called soldering. So they're going to flux and put a coupling on there. Now let me ask y'all the question. Y'all are not, versed in the plumbing. Now just keep passing it up. Just keep passing it. You don't want to see it, just keep passing it up. So the tool is. But this tool here, I've used it on over 50 psi of water pressure. You understand? And to have 50 psi of water pressure, if you ever get hit with 50 psi of water pressure, it hurts. Right? Just imagine you're pushing in this thing in live water to be able to do so. You're fighting it. It's not going in easily, right? And then you see how easily he ratcheted it. It's not that easy. Again, you're fighting against 50 psi of water. But the tool itself is a great tool because in an application where you don't have a lot of time, but you have to get this water back on, this tool will work master. Now, remember I showed you this tool here. Where's the flaring tool? Right. So remember I showed you this flaring tool, right? So, you notice that he put down a coupling there, which is the other thing going around, right? Could he flare a piece of pipe and solder down there?
Yeah, that would be a difficult thing to do.
No. Again, it has to do with the application, right? So you'll see in a later video how it can be done. And yes, it can be done and save yourself the coupling, right? But at that point, you got to make a decision, a financial decision, right? That the time you're taking to flare the fitting is it easier for me and cheaper for me to just clean the coupling, clean the pipe, and put it down now, right? And from a financial perspective, yes, it costs me more for a coupling, but the time, because time equals money, and that's how you're going to look at yourself, right? Like some people say there's only 8 hours, there's only 24 hours in a day. So how come Jeff Bezos can make $1 trillion in a 24-hour day when you're only making $60 or $70 a day? You understand? So we will learn value versus time. You understand? The more value you bring, the more expensive your time becomes. So my 8 hours, it might be triple your 8 hours, right? That is because of the value that I bring. You understand? Or the value that you're going to bring. Right? That black rubber expands because the 2 washers on the side is going to pull that rubber in and make it stop. Right? Now, depending on the type of pressure you have on there, it doesn't always stop the water 100%. But it stops the water enough for you to do work. Now, you might not understand it, but I'm going to take it a step farther. You see what he did is he used heat to put on a valve in here, right? If I was to do that and I'm using a compression, I wouldn't put heat on it. Why? Because of compression. You understand? And the water is on this side, right? So the water is coming out of here. So this pipe here is going to be cold. Take a lot of time to heat it up. As you can see, there's a compression ring there, right? I wouldn't solder this. I would just put on a compression valve there, right? Which is what he's going to put on after he soldered, right? Because again, knowing what you're working with is important. It'll help you move faster, right? And if I had to solder something, I would solder on the other side of the valve because now I have control of the water. Now I know that it's not going to get cold. You understand? And just so y'all know, we don't have it here, but again, this is something that's coming. There's now plumbing that's being made easier. So all of this stuff is nice. It looks neat when it's done. But if I have an emergency and you need your water, I'm working in a hospital, or I'm working in a restaurant, or I'm working in a hotel that has a restaurant, and the water cannot be down too low. There's fittings that is beyond this. That is more exceptional than this. You understand? And it's called shark bite. You can Google it, you can look it up, you'll see what that looks like. And basically that's a snap-in, right? There's nothing there. And in this video you'll see something else called PEX connection. That's also another thing, right? But the shark bite fitting, you just basically snap it in and you're good. You don't have to charge anything. You understand? And you don't have to worry about the jet sweat. This again is when you solder, right?
Is there a difference between the pipe itself? Some pipe has a spark screw like this, some of these are full. Is there a difference?
You're talking about the valve.
The valve.
Yeah. The valve, there's different valves. Different valves for different applications. So this particular valve, I would use when it's accessible, right? Where I can walk up and turn it. Now, when I'm dealing with concealment, I can use the same valve, but I gotta leave a window open for it, so I have to make a cutout for it. If I don't want to do that, then I use the valve with the handle the wrong end. Because I can have the pipe and the valve in the wall, and the handle on the exterior of the wall, and I can shut it off from there.
And that means the rubber is in the tool.
No, because remember, you don't put this tool right here.
Oh, it goes, you know.
Yeah, you want to push it in as far in because the farther back you push that water, the easier for you to heat the pipe up. You understand? Remember, with the water, if you're heating up the water, then the water gets hot. What happens to water when it gets hot? It changes state. It becomes steam. Now it's going to escape between the rubber. As the water stage, it'll stay there. As the phase of water, it'll stay there. But when it starts to become steam, it'll put pressure on that rubber. And if it's too close to your heat, remember on there you'll see on the end it has 2 washers. The washer gets hot and start burning the rubber, you're going to have a problem, right? So you want to push that in as far in. When you take this tool out, it's probably about 13 inches long. So you see how far in he's shoving in there, right? Because the farther back you push that water, the better for you.
The shark bite can use it on light pipe?
Yeah.
With pressure?
With pressure. right? Application is important. So, if I was to do this job, right? So you see how it has a valve and there's water coming out of here, right? As long water only creates a force when there's resistance. You only get resistance when you shut this valve off, right? So for example with the shark bite, if I have a shark bite coupling, right? And this is a coupling. So the coupling is open throughout. It's just like a pipe, but just a little bit bigger, right? So once there's nothing on the back here, there's no resistance. So I'll put the shark bite on, snap it into place. I'll have a valve, whether that be soldered on or shark bite on, and open. The valve is in the open position. So again, you're not fighting resistance. You get that on, then you shut off the water. Now, if you don't understand the theory and the practice of it, you'll never come up with that idea. You understand? So that's why you need 2 years to put yourself through school to understand this, because again, you can only be valuable when you understand the complete plumbing aspects, right? If you come out today and you work with me for a day and I show you how to do a little bit of PVC, maybe show you how to solder, you can go tell a man, like, hey man, I can, and he give you the work and you're stuck, right? The biggest part and the most important part of plumbing is layout. If you can't lay it out, you're lost. The plumbing, right? This is called a Pro Press tool. So, I want you to look at a few things here, right? Now this is going to take some imagination, and I need you to open up your mind and open up your brain and take a look at what I'm showing you here. So, if you notice, this pipe is embedded in cement, right? Now, you go out here, there are some areas that are smooth, but then you see some areas that have just the cinder block. So over there, we put the cinder block up when we do construction, right? Whether you do wood construction or you do metal cinder block construction, you put your cinder block up. On that cinder block, what we add to that cinder block is about 2 inches of stucco mix, which is a very sandy, soft cement, right? So as you can see, the gas pipe in here, or in this case, the water pipe, sorry. The water pipe in here was put on, and then they put the stucco on. So now the pipe is embedded into the cement. So there's 2 tools that they're using here, that pliers and the sawzall. But the video is about the Pro Press. But I'm going to take advantage of it to show you a few things that are happening here, right? So this is galvanized piping. Galvanized piping has been around forever, it's probably been around for a lot longer too, right? The only problem with galvanizing water is that it creates rust. And you get rust inside the pipe. So it slows the flow of water and it causes blackouts inside the faucets and stuff like that. So he's going to change this out into copper, right? Notice he's going to cut this pipe with a sawzall. That tool is called a sawzall. It's an electric saw. You can cut this pipe with that sawzall. But you can also cut this pipe with a grinder, right? With the right blade on the grinder, you can cut that, right? So, again, application of the material is one thing, application of the tool is one thing. The usage of these things. In order to know what they can do, you got to know that, right? So if you don't have a sawzall, you're like, oh man, I don't have a sawzall, I'll come back when I get a sawzall. If you have a grinder, you can do it. Can you cut this with a hacksaw? Huh? Yeah. Who said it? You was really strong for it because the cut through this will be hard. Huh? You just cut. What? You're in cement. You understand? So your limitations are there. Right. But how are you going to do it? Very difficult, right? Huh? You play a blade. Alright. Well, we'll put a piece of pipe in a cement and let me see how you can use the blade of blade. Alright? Use mainly in radiators. Why? Because you're not changing out the entire pipe. You're changing out just the radiator. In Florida, you don't see too much of this because mainly copper or plastic and things like that. So it's a quartz, solder type of thing. You're not using pipe wrench as much. Unless you're doing fire sprinkler piping or gas piping or you're using galvanized. But in New York, you'll find this a lot. And you have to take out a radiator. A radiator has a union, which is a big nut. And you have to hold that back. Because if you continue to turn it, you can turn the whole thing out or break the pipe. So the hold back is a technique that's used for that. So you prevent that from happening. What he's putting in here is a strap. That's to hold the pipe in place. That's the ProPress tool. So you're going to see another type of ProPress tool later on in the video. This ProPress tool is already set to an amount of torque in here. So when it locks down on a pin, it squeezes it tight, it's not going anywhere. And when you look at this here, you're going to see that it has a mark around the pipe where the fitting will stop. And the reason we do that, again, is technique and skills, right? Is that as we do work, sometimes you forget to push the pipe in all the way. Or you put the pipe in and while movement, it moves out. So you don't know that the pipe is moved. So by putting the mark, it gives you a visual. Because when you put this tool on there and it locks it down, it'll break the end of the pipe or it won't give you a proper seal. If it leaks right there and then, you can fix it. But 99% stuff like that will happen when you're home, 12 o'clock at night, because the thing blow out. The tools and the material you're working with, why you're using them is important, right? So as you notice, he's putting on a sleeve in here. Anybody know why he's putting on a sleeve in? Ben? No. No. Huh? I didn't hear. Who said? Public pipe. Why? Huh? It's copper or rust. Yeah. What the rope?
Installation.
Huh?
From farming installation.
It's a form of installation, but why?
From the temperature.
No. Copper don't conduct like that, especially in water. Right? You got something similar? No? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Huh? It corrodes, but it doesn't corrode. Okay, we're going to go with corrode for right now. Right? So, is corrode the right word? But a very few times that they find is that the concrete, again, that bleach-like material that's in it, sucks the molecules out of the copper, creating. I wouldn't say it's corrosive, but I guess that's the right word for now until it comes back to me, right? But it'll help protect the pipe. So, do you have to use something like this? No. That's good. But you can take duct tape. You can take spray paint. As long as the surface of the pipe is now coated with something, you protect that type of erosion, right? So, you'll notice that he put that in there as it goes in there. And why doesn't he put it out here? Well, actually, in the video, please, I understand. Now, no matter how good you are, don't be cocky in this game. You understand? In plumbing, keep yourself humble. Because you will be humbled by plumbing. You understand? I got a lot of people who say, I've soldered, never had a leak. And then they go solder and they forgot a whole joint. And they flood all the place. Don't get cocky in this game. You're dealing with a lot of water. And right now you probably don't see it because, you know, from what I can see, the pressure is very low. You know? Like I was taking a shower this morning and I turned on the pipe and the whole pipe came out of my hand. And I'm in the shower and I'm saying to myself, why would you not glue the pipe? Huh? I can't hear you.
I think that's a problem with distribution, the pump station.
Yeah.
I think they have a problem because before the water pressure used to go fairly well.
Okay.
Recently, some places don't get water. Since I live next to the pump station,
right.
You get a lot of pressure. You really get the pressure, it drops off running.
Okay. Yeah, you see, that's also going to change. If you drive up and down the highway, you'll see them start digging wells, they're running bigger pipes. Like I was up, I don't know the area that well, but I think that's a Grove or a Diamond or something like that, up that way. And you driving on the road, you'll see them have big 8-inch, 12-inch pipes that they're bringing in water mains in, right? So as you're going to see, and this is important for you to focus, right? Because if Allah takes my life tomorrow, be wise about it. They're going to have to put water treatment plants. They're going to have to put more pump stations because as the demand is growing, the grid for electricity is growing, right? Because we have more ACs going in. We have more electrical needs. Everybody's got a cell phone. The internet grid is going to grow. All of this is going to grow, right? So the same thing with the plumbing. And as plumbing starts to grow, the pressure is going to be no less than 50 psi per house. 50 psi to 80 psi is a lot of pressure, right? Now thank God for me that it wasn't blasted out, right? But I put it back in and I got it in. But how that happened is going to be my assumption that somebody was gluing all these joints and forgot this one, right? And that's usually what happens. You get too cocky. Make sure that this may look simple and people like, ah, it's a waste of time. It's really not, because when you put this thing on here and you crimp it, the only way to do this is to cut it out and start over. Now imagine, let's say copper is $5 a square foot, or $5 a foot, right? You got maybe about 3 or 4 foot of copper there. From a boss perspective, that's a big loss for me. You understand? Because if it's $5 a foot and you have 4 foot there, that's $20 I just lost. Plus the fitting. These fittings are not cheap. For the convenience, they're charging you for the convenience. So let's say this regular fitting is $1. That's $3 a fitting, right? You have about 4 fittings on there. I got to cut it out and start my home, right? So you want to not be cocky with it. You want to pay attention to it.
So you said this is because of the solder, you could keep it up after later?
Yeah, and for the most part, solder, you can do that. But if the fitting is, you know, whatever, you have to pull it apart or the pliers bend it, then you got to change the fitting too. But the gas that you use for soldering, the time that you take for soldering, all of that adds up. Let's say you hire me as a plumber. You pay me $50 an hour for being a plumber. I'm on a job that's paid for 1 hour. But now, because of my silly mistake, I'm on there for 2 hours. Now you're paying me $100 to be on a $50 job. You understand? As a boss, you lose, right? So the effectiveness of you as an apprentice, the effectiveness of you as a worker, has to translate back to the big man with his money in his pocket. Because if you're costing me, guess what? You're only going to buy me life, right? In my company, I have 17 guys working for me. Save. Save money for the business, and that translates back a raise at the end of the year or a raise at the quarterly. You understand? And if I can't make money off of you, then you become a liability. My goal here is to teach you to be not a liability, but to be an asset to the company that you get hired with. Right? So if I open a plumbing company here in Guyana, and I said I want to hire plumbers, and I bring in 10 of you guys in, and I put you to run some pipe, and I see that there's some wastage and cutting on the pipe, guess what? Not only did I just lose the job, but I got to fire whoever's doing the job, right? Because it's not productive for me. So it's important that you take your time. Now you may take the 2 more seconds extra to measure back the pipe or to put the mark on the pipe, but I prefer to pay you like 2 extra seconds and to pay you for the 2 hours you're going to be there, cutting it back out and starting over.
So the purpose of the sleeve to protect the pipe, to cut the pipe from erosion, perhaps in the
Yeah.
So we're going to use for PVC as well?
PVC, no.
Any concrete?
No. So PVC now, because of the coating of PVC, it doesn't have the same effect. Because remember, what they're putting on there is a plastic.
Yeah.
Right? So the plastic do not react to the type of the chemical that's in the concrete. Now, again, that can only come from going to class and understanding the chemical makeup of these products. So we have glue. We have glue and we have cleaner. Right? So people don't understand what it is. They call it glue and cleaner. Why you clean the pipe? Oh, the guy has dirt on it. I put the glue. No. The cleaner has a chemical in here that when it is applied to the PVC pipe, it makes the molecules start to bounce around. Right? So imagine that the door open up. Right? The glue is the thing that closes the door. So when you apply that glue, it fills those open holes in the pipe that you're not seeing. You're not seeing an open hole. But inside that pipe, the molecules are moving around. Then when you put this glue on both on the fitting of the pipe, then you are told to turn it 1/4 of an inch. Why you turn it 1/4 of an inch? Because just like anything else, like if you understand the zipper, that's what happens, right? It's like when you turn it, it's locking those molecules in. You understand? You ever get a cut? You put alcohol on it or the peroxide, what happens? It fizzes or it burns, right? As soon as that dissipates, you feel relief. right? And sometimes if the cut is not deep enough, you can see a scab going over it, right? Same thing with the PVC, right? Or same analogy. But you need to know the chemicals that you're working with, right? So, somebody start hanging.
That stops him out using the shell.
Huh?
Like the sleep, it stops him on using the shell of the copper.
Yes.
And don't break it up.
And the interaction between the two is toxic. Right? Meaning that once you start interacting, and it keeps going,
It's going to break down the copper.
breaks down the copper. Exactly.
Using all these
Yes. And the friction in water runs like this, right? So,
it's brittle.
right. Right? And either way from it.
How do you work with the alcohol or peroxide?
When you put, if you have a pot and you scratch, and you put a peroxide on it, it creates a fizz on it, right? So what that does is it pulls the skin together, or it just puts a little scab on it, covers it, right? When you apply the cleaner on it, what that does is it opens up the pipe, the molecules are bouncing around. So they're no longer together as solids, right? So now when you apply the glue, that glue goes into the opening. And when you turn the quarter inch, it locks the fitting molecules with the PVC pipe molecule and it locks it in place. That's why you have the excretion of the rest of the glue. So whatever glue is going to either come out or it's going to go into the pipe. And lock it in place.
Cement, water. Cement, melts.
Yes.
So of the layman's point of view,
Huh?
a layman's point of view, a guy is man working in the yard.
Yeah.
Perhaps he has this cup pipe and a pot. But he doesn't have the material to fix that pipe.
Yeah.
So he uses a hose and goes with the paper.
Yeah. With the current pressure that you have in Guyana, that wouldn't be a problem.
That would work.
In fact, with the current pressure in Guyana, I can put together my pipes without moving it and not have that problem.
Yeah.
You understand? But once they apply pressure to it, right, we're going to have a problem. Huh? Yeah, but again, the pressure pump, let's say you have a 60 horsepower pump, but you're building in 10 from the city. It doesn't really matter, just pump it out of water, you understand? So when you start to get more volume of water and the amount of water is pushing out, that's when you will start to see it.
These grips, right? Special grips or is the same one we saw?
No, these are not solid. These have a rubber inside. So there's no heat that you can put on them. Right? So that inside the fitting, it has a rubber. When that crimp comes down, it locks the metal around it, but the rubber is what holds it from slipping out. You understand? Yeah. Yeah. The material for this, the fittings for this are very expensive because the process, so they did study it. This also YouTube. I don't want to really get too, away from what we're trying to push out here. But you can look this up. They did a side-by-side test of soldering and and progress. And the time that it takes them to solder versus this, and the fastest soldering on, they do double the work with progress than they do with soldering. Right? So it is a safety thing, like the example of the valve before. If I have this machine and I have a busted pipe, I don't need to worry about the water and the heat and all that stuff. I put my fitting down just like the sharp pipe, and this once I get the fitting down, I crimp it, he locks into place. And I would already have a valve made up, put that valve in, I crimp it, and he's done. Shut off the valve and he's done. You understand? I don't have to worry about heat, I don't have to prep the water, I don't have to worry about anything. You understand? So this is a simple process, but it's necessary to know how to solder. It's necessary for these things because in some applications you can't use this, right? Like I did a house, and the guy said to me he don't want no torching in his attic. Like the pipe is in the interior of the house, right? You're not running pipe outside the wall because they don't want to see the pipe, right? Aesthetically, it doesn't look good, so they don't want it outside. So we have to run it in the attic. So I usually solder in the attic because not the brand, I'm pretty good at soldering. But the guy said he don't want no fire in his house. He just wants something that is not as scary as a torch. So I had to go buy one of these things. It's like $5,000. And that guy ain't about either, right? So for his job, I had to buy that one too. And then I had to buy fittings to match. But the reality of it is that once I start using it, I start fighting it. Because even though I'm telling you about change, you get comfortable. I got comfortable in plumbing. So there's one way of doing things. There's one way of running septic tank. There's one way of running water pipe. And that's the way it is, because now in my mind, that's how I learned it, that's how I'm doing it. But as I grow, I start to understand, wait a minute. You need to grow up. You need to see how you make money. Now, copper is probably 3 or 4 times more than most of these other pipes out there. It is a greater pipe than most, yes. Hex pipe, as you're going to see, if anybody has ever sewn anything, you'll see how simple hex pipe is. Hex pipe, literally, you can bring it in the house and it comes in 100-foot roll. So no longer do you have to make joints inside the attic or inside the roof. You bring that pipe from point A to point B, one straight pipe, no joints inside there. Your work just got cut down. You do all the connections on the floor. So for example, if I had a sink there, a toilet there, and a shower there, and the back there was my kitchen, and my ceiling is here, I can run my pipes one length, straight, and all the connections here, right? Connect to my main outside on the floor. So now for sure that there's no leak potentials in that ceiling, except if there's a manufacturing defect, and then that has nothing to do with it, right? So if there's 100 foot to the end there, I can get it there, right? So all of these things, it comes with time, right? It comes as you learn the application and the needs. And who knows, maybe 10 years from now, there's a different type of pipe. Now, in the PEX industry, they have evolved into 2 things. So you'll see as we go on the video, there's a crimping faction, and then there's an expansion side of it, where they put a device in and they expand the pipe. Because they have learned that once you stretch those molecules apart, it takes them a little bit of time, things like 2 to 5 seconds, and then the latch is down. When that latch is down, it holds on for all their life. So they came up with is a fitting of the passes around. This is something here similar to this, but if you look at this, it has a circle. The ones that they have is not a circle, but it's beveled. It has a circle, but it has a cutout on the inside. So when that thing latch on, it latch on, so you can't pull it apart.
So, just a point here. Now, let us say, for example, if you have to try and maybe job with you have to try and do couple together. Maybe some situation. You think it's better for you to timber? A timber giant or usually the same fuse on accelerate?
Same.
I'm saying you have to do proper. Another giant together. So you put threading and just screw up against the timber, I think the fuse not going to be harsh.
Well, if you have a copper, to do all of what you're doing is more work and more expensive. It's better to just solder it or use a sharp pipe fitting or a progress fitting is done. So if you're not out of thread itself, then you have more leak potential. Because the thread is a leak potential. I think that's my favorite rule. And if you tighten it all the way, then you end trouble. You know? I like the interaction. Thank you for that. Very important. Because if anybody has ever worked on a car or tried to take out a bolt that's stubborn and you miss, what happened? You knock your hand, right? So with this locking in, it holds it into place a little longer and it gives you a little bit more stick.
Why can't you turn a bolt instead of
Why they can't use a mold grip? What do you call a mold grip? The vice grip. So this technology comes from the vice grip. So this is an advancement of the vice grip. But remember I telling you, right, you have to grow. Tool making company also have to grow. If they're selling pliers but the pliers still gone down, they have to find a way to sell something that will keep them going as they can't keep their doors open. So they have invented this new thing, they put a little locking thing on there, they did a little change around and this and that. Can you use your regular pliers? Yes. But I want to look cool on the job. I just spent $20 for a new tool. You understand? So they have to keep the money coming in. They got to keep their doors open. That's why you don't get comfortable on where you're at. You always have to grow. You have to expand. The companies that are making tools are making new tools, not because they want to. They have to generate money. Yes.
So this is a channel lock, right? And when you hold it, you don't need to actually press on it. You hold one side and it locks itself.
Yes. Yeah. But this here is a mixture of the channel lock and the vice grip that you see. So the channel lock is a particular company. But the beautiful thing about this, and again, doesn't matter. I think it does to some effect, right? If you use the vice grip or the vice mold as you call it, it doesn't have this notch out like this, right? And it doesn't have the protection that they're promoting here. But would you do the same thing? Yes. You understand? How effective? You know? Because on the vice grip, if you know you have a screw on the bottom, that's your locking mechanism. You understand? But again, it's about selling tools. Does it do the same thing? You can get away with just a regular channel lock. In fact, with a regular standard pliers, you can. In fact, you can get away with it with one of these guys. Right? But the reality is that as we understand money, we understand economics, everybody wants to do fancy things. Is anything wrong with a bell-bottom pants?
No.
Nothing wrong with bell-bottom pants. Who's going to wear bell-bottom pants today?
Nobody.
You will. Look, raise your hand, please. Look how many other people say no. Right? So now you don't do anything on my industry that's making tight jeans and cut-up jeans, right? I want you guys who's going to wear tight jeans. You understand? So this is how business works. We don't go with what one person wants, we want what most people want. And if they don't want it, we're going to sell it to you. Right? If I told you that this device here is a murder weapon in your hand, it murders your mind and it murders your soul, would you believe me? No. But it is. Right? How much time you spend on this versus being productive? You'll see how much time is lost behind it. I have 4 kids, so I know. It kills your brain cells. You understand? So, it isn't what you think is beneficial to you that it drives. Everybody hear anything called Facebook? Huh? If I say I'm with the FBI, please put down your name, your address, what you ate for dinner, and your mother's maiden name, and your bank account, and your credit card number, would you do it? There was now FBI in my world, but you go on Facebook. This is what I have for dinner. This is my girlfriend. We go to the movies. Look at the movie I see. Look at my pants. Look at my shirt. I'm here in Georgetown. I'm here in Venezuela. I'm here in Guyana. You're giving them your location. All these things they used to fight for. They have to go through privacy laws to get. You give it to them free on this device. Your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook, all of that is information readily given. You understand? If y'all follow the news, Facebook was in front of the US government answering questions. Why would a technology company have to be in front of the government? They're going to have to report. You understand? So, my dear brothers and sisters, money is made not on what you think it is. Money is made in how the market is driven. You understand? This is a silly tool. I already have 10 like this. But it will sell, and it will sell off of the shelf. Because it's something new and something that people might think that is cool. In this video, we'll see a couple of different varieties of this mini puppet, right? So this is the latest model. The ones that I passed around, that's like the dinosaurs. They have these particular kinds, probably about 8 different versions. This here is the newest one, is a ratchet type, so you don't have to set your hand all the way around. Now, this young person here, he doesn't have no walls, there's no perspective, right? So his hand is going to go all the way around. But the objective here is that you don't scratch up your knuckles. If my pipes, so the average this is probably about 5 inches, but let's say this is my wall, and my pipe is inside of this wall, and I have pipes on pipes, and I have the sheetrock on both sides. I have to get my hand to cut that pipe. My hand going against here is going to scratch up my knuckles, right? What this device is supposed to do is that your hand don't have to go and turn all the way. If you hold your hand in the front and you just nudge it, and it'll cut the pipe the same way. You see how he's going all the way around? If you have a wall, you don't have that.
What is the reason using AXA for this?
No, good question. Good question. Very good question. Let me come back to that question. There's a tool going to straighten up. Let me set up the top for this. So you see the blue pipe? That's PEX pipe. Right?
There is a PEX pipe.
That's the PEX pipe. That is like spaghetti noodles. Very easy to handle. You can take it, you can beat your kids with it, you can belt it across the street, you can be out in the sun, nothing's going to happen to this. This pipe here, 500 degrees Fahrenheit before you can run through it. Right? They use these pipe in a spaceship. And then scientists decided to say, hey, let's introduce it to the plumbing market, right? Again, creating a market for it, right? The cutter he has in his hand is a plastic cutter. Now, can you cut PVC with that? Yes. Application is important. Understanding the tool is most important. Now, this particular thing here, it opens up and it latches down. There's not a ratchet on it. So if I have a piece of PVC pipe, and we do, right, you'll see that that PVC pipe, you can latch down on it and cut, right? You gotta have the ratchet action to go. You can probably cut with that, but it'll give you a harder cut, right? On these plastic pipe, not so much so. It'll go right through the pipe, right? And this particular tool here, this is the ProPress tool that I was telling you about. So you saw the one with the battery. This one here is manual. So a little history again here. You see the ring that he puts around here? So in America, we have a pipe that's called polybutylene pipe. So polybutylene pipe is now illegal in America. Why? For over 50-something years, they've used polybutylene pipe. But what happened is polybutylene pipe started to blow apart. Was the pipe bad? No. The method of connection is where the problem was. So on polybutylene, they used to use a copper ring that's made out of copper. Then they used to use a plastic fitting that was inserted into the pipe, and the ring would clamp onto it. Yeah. What they've done is now they've revolutionized this. This pipe, as it stands, looks to be inferior, but it's a very strong pipe. But what they've changed in using this method is that the ring looks metal, but it's not. It's a plastic type of ring with some hints of metal in it. So when it clamps, it stays, right? Plastic on plastic can't crimp. So they use a type of plastic coating, so when the friction, I didn't explain this before, but let me go through that and go through it. Water creates friction. When you turn on and off the faucet, that water jerks inside that pipe like this, right? So every time you shut off the water in your faucet, your toilet's flush, your faucet in the kitchen, you turn on that water, the water goes back and forth into the pipe. And in doing so, it creates friction. It put a very heavy wear on top of this ring and this fitting. So if you have a 90-degree elbow and that water keeps going and stopping, it'll hit that fitting every time and it'll break right there, right? A coupling not so much because it's just straight pipe, right? So it's important to understand that. They brought this back, or this method back, because again, they find that by changing the ring out, changing the fittings from plastic to brass, it lasts a little bit longer. Who knows, in 20 years they'll figure out something else went wrong and they'll change it over again. But again, you got to look at the economics of it. We make changes so we can make money. Plain and simple. So notice the tool that he's using, right? So remember I said the ProPress tool, the machine with the battery, comes with a torque on it already. So when that comes, it latches on, you know that it's in there. What happens here is that sometimes because you're pressing with your hand and you don't lock it in all the way, sometimes you don't squeeze it in all the way. So by getting this tool, it is able to tell you that yes, it's latched in all the way, or there's a bulge, you got to change the fitting, you got to cut it on or replace it.
And carry it.
Okay, so you asked a question earlier about why you shouldn't use hacksaw to cut copper pipe. Okay, you see this tool here? It's called a deburring tool, right? This is a deburr. What this does, it goes inside and you clean the inside of the pipe. You'll see what they're going to do there just now. So, why we use this tool is that, again, because you're not there yet, you probably won't get all the concepts, but the reason we clean it is because when you turn that water on and you cut that copper pipe, you cut through the pipe, but there's a little piece of pipe on the inside of that pipe. We call that burr, right? And that burr, if you don't remove it, stays there. And as movement of the water, just like a piece of wire, you're breaking it, you got to bend it a few times for it to come apart. The same thing with that burr. It'll latch on there, and eventually, with the friction of water moving out, it's going to break it out. When it breaks it out, it'll get caught up in a few things. It'll either get caught up in the valve. That's why that guy had to change the valve earlier. because it wasn't shutting off all the way. It's stuck in that groove. So every time you shut the valve off, there's a little thing stopping it, there's a leak. So it'll stop there. The other place it'll go, and God forbid, it goes into your faucet, right? Well, the way they're making faucets nowadays, it's all one piece, back where I'm from, right? So it's all one piece. So when that burr gets inside of there, you're not replacing a part, you're replacing the entire faucet, right? So over there, a faucet is about $300. So if you mess it up, you got $300 coming out your pocket, right? So you want to use this tool. This tool here helps you to clean out the inside of the pipe, right? And that's one variation. This is the other variation. But let's play it out.
In case with storage compartment.
I'm a stickler for this. So I believe that the correct way you learn things and the correct way that you do things shows me as a plumber that's looking for a helper that this person knows what they're doing. Did y'all notice how that guy was cutting the pipe? I'll play it back.
ID burr and carrying case with storage compartments. For expanding larger size tubing, expander heads 1 and 2.
So, as a boss, as an employer, when I employ people, right, everybody's got a story. I got guys that come in and say, man, I've been doing this for 25 years, I can do this, I can do that, I can plumb, I know the read blueprints and all of that stuff. I can't deny that. That's what you say, that's your story. But the way that I prove to myself that you're of value to my company is I ask questions, right? So, knowing certain types of tricks and certain types of things makes me to know if you're a slappy plumber, or you're a getting by plumber, or you know what you're doing plumber, right? So there are people who are get-by plumbers. So they'll go from one company to the other company. So let's say, what's your name, brother? Fiat. Fiat has a job opening, he's offering $20 an hour, right? $20 American dollars, so y'all too happy, right? So he has a job $20 an hour. What's your name, brother? Huh? Abdul Qadir, if you want to apply for the job. You got the job. He's working with this brother. What's your name, brother? Huh? So, you know, like, and it was pre-made, measured pipes and just make his angle so when he goes, he can just slap it in. So he's telling me, he said, well, when you do this thing here, it's very simple. I've been soldering for 20 years. I know everything about soldering. They tuck it in the water, they pull it out, and the bare hand, and they got it up in there, and the pipe was still hot. You understand? So that's why I said, don't get cocky in this game. It'll come back to bite you. It'll bite you in the worst place, right? So you're right. He just heated up that pipe, and if you notice how close his hand is to where he heated it up, right? So two things is telling me. That pipe wasn't very hot, or that man has strong hands.